What up, everybody? Welcome into the Bourbon Buzz and Ballin' Podcast. That's Kolby and Dut, and we are excited to have you in tonight at, what is this, episode 35?
36.
36. I'm losing track.
Yep.
They're rolling along. We've had a pretty good week in sports.
Yeah, a lot of things. There's no major, one topic to just focus on, but a lot of little ones to touch on and give our thoughts on. And I figure we spend a lot of time in our toast and scumbag area,
Right.
So,
It's kind of a dead period, I guess, in sports since you and I aren't too big into NBA.
Yeah, we're not huge basketball. I do love hockey, but a lot of our listeners don't care about hockey.
No, we're in the South, man. Not many people care too much about puck, for sure.
Baseball season started up. NBA and NHL going to the playoffs. College basketball wrapped up. Spring games are wrapping up. We do have the NFL draft around the corner.
Right.
So that'll give us something to talk about over the next couple of weeks.
I have some NFL draft news tonight that I came across. So yeah, that'll be good. We'll dive into it and let's just see where it takes us.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and get rolling with our opening toast.
Cool.
And I'll start off. Last week we were talking a lot of women's hoops.
Mm-hmm.
And, talking about Caitlin Clark and LSU. But I wanted to recognize Aaliyah Boston from South Carolina. She went number 1 overall in the WNBA draft. And
South Carolina was well represented.
They actually had 5 go total. Right. And they had 3 go in the top 10. Mm-hmm. So, very impressive. What Dawn Staley has accomplished just down the road from us is impressive. She's got the premier women's program right now. It went from Tennessee to UConn.
Right.
And now Dawn's UConn's still in the mix, and
sure.
You got the other teams, but just
LSU going to have something to say about that this coming
true.
year.
This is true.
They're returning some good players.
They lost. I think they had 2 drafted into the WNBA. That was first person I wanted to recognize was Aaliyah Boston, and then also a little shout out to the whole South Carolina program, because it's like I said, Dawn Staley's done.
Or are they a team of chokers? You got 3 drafted that high, and you still can't get it done.
I think they ran in. They got it done last year. The year, not this season, but the last season. Aaliyah Boston was the main reason for that. I think this year they just ran into a buzzsaw in Caitlin Clark and didn't have an answer for it.
Yeah. No, I'm not calling them chokers. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah, they with 5 going into the WNBA, you'd think, of course, if you want to go that route, you could throw that label on Alabama's men's team too.
Oh yeah, definitely discuss it for sure. It was a disappointing finish.
And then I'll throw one more out there. Speaking of hockey, like I mentioned, I'm a big hockey fan. And the Boston Bruins, they still have 1 game left, but they have already established the best regular season in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
They just won their 64th game out of 81.
Yeah.
That's freaking impressive.
It's insane. And another game to add.
Yeah, they got one more game against Montreal, which if they really want to win the game, they'll win it.
Right.
They may rest a bunch of people. Who knows what their plans are? It's Thursday night. But they set the record for most wins at 64, most points at 133, and they can tack on to that.
Yeah.
And to put a little perspective on that, the second best team in the league is Carolina Hurricanes at 111 points.
Right. But they're struggling down the
stretch. They are, yeah. They've gone cold down the stretch.
Yeah.
They possibly could lose the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
They've only got 1 point up on the Devils, and I'm kind of hoping they do, because the Rangers are the number 3.
Right.
And whichever team finishes second, that's who the Rangers have to play in the playoffs. So, but that's a 22-point difference from first place to second place.
Yeah.
Which is equivalent to 11 wins. That's impressive. I've never seen. I remember when if a team got
who had the highest? Wasn't it the Penguins? Wasn't it the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I think it was.
With the highest single season point
was,
total.
Yeah.
And they've kind of destroyed that point total.
Yeah.
With one more game to go. So
right. Yeah, it's
add to it for sure.
It's definitely, like I said, I don't know if if they're as dominant in the playoffs as they have been in the regular season. Give them the cup.
Yeah, it's a done deal, but there's some speed out there still left.
Yeah, I mean, and playoff hockey is different than regular season hockey.
Right.
A lot of the rules go out the window. So, like, if you're a finesse team in the regular season, you might not fare as well because they let the.
That should be good for Boston because
they're
typically a bruiser team.
I don't think it's going to affect Boston.
I don't know what their team's comprised of this year, but I know
they got
years past they pretty much would beat you off the puck.
They're pretty physical.
Yeah. They've always had such a huge back line, that just.
I mean, they're a complete, well put together, well orchestrated team. That's the thing in hockey. You can't just be straight finesse or straight bully. You've got to be well rounded to be successful, and that's what the Bruins are. It's like I said, it's impressive.
Cool.
So that's who I wanted to toast. Who you got?
Well, I'm gonna go to the Masters.
Going to the Masters.
Yeah,
Mr. Rahm.
John Rahm. He's definitely one of my favorite current players. Very likable. He anchored my team on FanDuel, so I was appreciative. He was the first player I chose. So
I think he's the favorite player of the PGA Tour, also because he kept a couple live golfers
at bay
in his rear view.
Yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, John Rahm, great champ. He played spectacular down the stretch in poor weather. He overcame a 4-shot deficit, which looked insurmountable because Brooks Koepka is like he's the Terminator when he has the lead in the majors. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. And on a side note, it was Seve Ballesteros' birthday on Sunday, which is obviously every Spaniard, mentor and man that they looked up to the most. But it's just something really. It's always been something kind of really beautiful and poetic about Spanish golfers. I mean, I've watched golf since I've been watching the Masters, pretty intently since I was 16. I think the first Masters I tuned into was Jack Nicklaus's 46-year-old Masters victory.
Now, I'm not as big into golf as you are and don't follow it as closely. I do know that Rahm is a Spaniard, but I know he went to college in Arizona.
Yeah, ASU.
Yes,
Phil.
So Mickelson's brother was his coach.
Yeah.
Was he born in Spain and been here all his life, or did he just come here for college and he stayed
He came here for school.
He came
here for college golf and has moved here now.
His
family's
being on the tour.
Raised here. I think he married an American woman from college, so he lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. So he definitely assimilated to the U.S., but.
I wasn't sure. I just, like I said, I knew that they were calling him a Spaniard, but then I also knew he played his college golf in the U.S., so I didn't know whether his parents were Spaniards.
His parents are
full-blown.
fully Spanish. And, that's what's kind of cool about his story is, as you mentioned, he's really close to the Mickelsons, with Phil's brother being his coach. And he's still really close with Phil because he's asked, he's gone to Phil for a lot of advice. Both of them are Arizona State grads. So, I think that's kind of a cool thing. And, when you're talking about keeping live golfers at bay, one cool thing I took from the Masters this year, and even being at Augusta on Monday for the practice round, you could see the camaraderie among the players. And the media kept trying to stir up the rivalry between Liv. No, it's really not there. Honestly, I think it's there in some form, deep down. Obviously, the PGA players were wanting John Rahm to win, over Brooks Koepka.
Mm-hmm.
But the players still get along so well.
Yeah.
Nobody gets along anyway with I can't even think of his name now. It just slipped my mind. Patrick Reed.
Oh.
Nobody likes Patrick Reed anyways, because there was that blow up between Patrick Reed and
right.
And
I'm
Rory.
sure the players look at it like, hey, you do you, I'm gonna do me. It's not nothing personal between the players. It's
no, it really
is.
It's
what each player thinks is best for them.
It really is. It's really the battle of me versus the course.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much them versus other players. Most of the players look at it that way. If I play my game and I do well against the golf course, I'm going to fare well against the field. One last note before we move off of this. I think one thing is interesting to me about the LIV Tour. It's only a 54-hole tour event.
Right.
And they make a big deal that's not a big deal. The LIV players do, but Brooks Koepka never relinquishes a lead in a major ever.
They were saying Dustin Johnson was struggling. Was it because these guys haven't played enough golf?
I think it's because they haven't played enough competitive golf against a loaded field, and I just really think Brooks Koepka faded down the stretch. I don't want to say he choked because he was second place in the Masters.
Right.
I mean, that's
well, but he had a 4-stroke lead,
a 4-shot lead. After 54 holes, and then the last 18. Of course, the weather conditions were brutal, but honestly, I think the LIV Tour, it's so loose and so.
Well, and that was also
the structure is so weird.
It was also 18 more holes than he's used to been playing.
Yeah.
He's used to a 3-day tournament, not a 4-day tournament.
I think it got him. I really do. I think it got him. But then you see Phil Mickelson. But Phil Mickelson loves Augusta.
Yeah.
He's at home in Augusta. He plays well there. So him doing so well wasn't that big of a surprise.
He's not that many years removed from a victory, is he?
No, I think his last
5 or 6,
yeah,
maybe?
I think his last victory was 2016.
Yeah, I guess that's a little bit
I
longer
think
than I thought.
don't quote me on that, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was 2016. But I mean, he just
Actually, I guess it was Tiger who won in 19.
Yeah, Tiger
Maybe
won in 2019.
That was sad to watch him trying to walk on Saturday.
Yeah, on Monday when I was there, I remarked to my brother and my dad, that he's in pain. You could see it; he was in excruciating pain. And honestly, you've been to Augusta.
Mm-hmm.
That course is not set up for somebody with a bad leg.
Yeah, bad foot.
But we'll get into a little bit of Tiger discussion. I got a
Okay.
piece I do want to throw
Okay.
out there and talk about Tiger.
All right.
So that's my opening
your opening
toast, John
toast?
Rahm. Yeah.
All right, well, let's raise our glass to John Rahm, Aaliyah Boston, and the other Gamecocks that got drafted, and then the Boston Bruins on a hell of a regular season.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So smooth.
What you got?
I went Statesman.
Oh yeah, you like that one.
Yeah, well, we're doing 95 proof. We got another rabbit hole, and the high gold, the high rye, and it's 95 proof. So I like to try to stay around the same area. So I actually almost, after I poured it, I thought I should have just poured some of that Cave Hill from last week.
Right.
But I had already poured the Statesman, so can't go wrong with either one, really.
No, that's some good stuff. I got Rare Breed.
Okay.
It's good.
Yep.
It's a nice
That's
sipper.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite of the wild turkeys.
I was in that Statesville today. I picked up I got me a bottle of BT.
Did you?
Yeah.
I actually I stopped in the ABC store that is on my way home.
They had it too.
No, they didn't. I walked in and they were telling me they had the horse soldiers because I had been asking for them before, and I said, "Yeah, I've got the complete set right now." And I was looking around. I said, "But what you need is the bottled and bond,
Right.
Southern Star, Paragon." I said, "You've only got the they've got the regular one, and then they've got the cask strength. And she told me that those weren't selling. I said, well, that's a shame because they're very good bourbons. And I said, and the Bottle and Bond is the best of the three, which is the one they don't have.
Well, the ABC in Statesville today had all of the Southern Star line except Bottled and Bond. Because I would have picked you up a bottle of Bottled and Bond, but they didn't have that. Of course, they would only let me buy one bottle of Buffalo Trace today. $29. $29.
Well, I wonder if they had some in Maiden, because she asked me, "Is there anything else, or is it?" I don't remember how she worded it, but the way she worded it, it almost came across like she was trying to drop me a hint to ask for it. And of course, I've still got a liter bottle of it I haven't opened yet. So, but I felt like
you never pass up a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
I know. I probably should have asked her.
$29.
Because, like I said, it was almost like she was dropping me a hint when she was like,
I'm surprised she didn't just outright tell you.
A lot, and usually she does, and that's why like I said, it just came across as a hint, but and maybe she didn't come right out because there was other people in the store.
Yeah, the lady at the ABC today, I was like, let me get two of them, and she was like, I can't do that. I was like, come on, it's just $29. You could tell she was like thinking about it, but there were so many people.
Well, and it's funny you say that because my wife had a client that she just finished up, and we were talking about bourbon, and she said her husband found some Blantons, and the clerk he was like, "Can I buy more?" And she was like, "Sure, my boss sitting here." So she let him buy whatever he wanted.
Where was this?
I didn't ask her.
I
didn't ask her.
I would be interested to know where it was.
Yeah. So it's all the ones I go to. They're usually pretty strict about it. Like I said, usually when I go in Maiden, it's usually just me in there. So that I'm wondering maybe that's why she just was dropping a hint rather than just coming out and telling me. But
oh well, the travails of bourbon hunting in North Carolina. It's fun, I guess, because you just never know what you're gonna get. But honestly, it's frustrating because
that's why
you stop because there just might be that bottle, and it's never there.
But I've quit asking. There's so many more that I still haven't tried.
Sure,
that I'm kind of to the point now where I'm just looking at trying some other ones, and if I happen to luck upon something, I'll get it, obviously. But I used to ask every time I went in, and now I don't even ask.
Well, I was thinking about purchasing that chicken cock, that Island. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that
yet.
It's
like it's been finished off in a rum cask.
Oh, okay.
But it's it's $150, I think. So I was thinking about pulling the trigger on that.
I know they got
we don't really care for.
We're not big for the
finished casks. We're not really big on those. So, but the rum cask I think would be good. Mm-hmm. But it's $150.
Well, they got that double oak too. But and I found out it's kind of a more about the way that
the chicken cock has a double oak.
But it's not. It's not the one barrel. It goes from like a used barrel to a new barrel or something like that because it was based on a barrel shortage. But anyway, I still, when I hear double oaked, I don't get excited.
No, me neither. You can keep that Woodford double oak.
Yeah, we gave that a 1.
That was not good.
Who would have ever thought, a 70?
And that's what my dad drinks exclusively is the double oak.
Really?
Yes.
I can't imagine. That's a $70, $80 bottle of bourbon that we gave a neat.
Everybody.
We gave it a brown bag, not a neat.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody loves the double oak that I come in contact with, but
I've tried it, I think 3 times now, and I've not liked it any time.
Yeah.
So All right. Well, speaking of not liking things, let's
talk about our
scumbags. And you know me, anytime somebody lays hands on a woman, I might have to call them out. Another sport that we're not really into, but NASCAR driver Cody Ware, he was arrested for felony assault by strangulation and misdemeanor assault on a female. And he's been suspended by NASCAR, and obviously he was arrested. And so yeah, he's one of my scumbags. And then my other scumbag is Mr. Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting.
And part of me really I should say Kyle Anderson is the scumbag, because he's the one that kept calling Gobert a bitch.
I know, but his teammates came to his defense,
right? Because he stood up for himself,
yeah,
like I said. So really, maybe
Gobert's a bully, man.
Well, but the only reason I say Gobert is because he got suspended and didn't get to play. They had a play-in game against the Lakers
and lost in overtime.
And yeah, by like 3 or 4 points. So I mean, he could have been the difference.
I smell conspiracy to me, because that was kind of didn't even really punch him.
Nah,
just kind of
swung at him, and
he kind of just punched him in the chest a little, like a hard push, and then he gets suspended in a big game.
Well, the good news is
I call bullshit. I think that's
the good news is that was the 7-8, so the Lakers sealed the 7th seed. The T-Wolves, is it the T-Wolves?
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota T-Wolves. They get to play one more game for the 8th seed.
I thought that was it.
Now, see, so what they do is the 7 and 8 play each other, and the winner is locked into the 7th seed. And then 9 and 10 play each other. The loser, he's done. The winner plays the loser of the 7-8 game.
Okay.
So they've got one more game against, and I think that other game is played tonight, so I don't even know who they'll play against. But that is the only silver lining, is that they do have one more game.
I thought for sure that seemed rather set up for the Lakers, because that wasn't really a punch.
No, but it's your teammate, and it's in the middle of a game, and you're on the sideline, and you gotta restrain. Wait till you get to the locker room, then beat his ass.
Right.
But of course, he was kind of injured also, and that's why a lot of his teammates were saying, he's calling him a bitch for playing soft, but he's playing hurt. So, maybe it was a combination. Minnesota wanted to rest him for the true elimination game, and they just made a big PR move by suspending him. I don't know, but so yeah, him and Cody Ware, those are my scumbags this week.
All right,
who you got?
I'm going with Bidwell.
Yeah, I started to throw him up there, but
yeah, it was easy. I mean, hell, he may rival Daniel Snyder as maybe I don't think so.
I mean,
but,
is it a prerequisite that you have to be a scumbag to own an NFL team?
I guess. I guess them guys think that they got so much money they can do what they want to do. His latest accusation, using a burner phone to communicate with his suspended GM, who was suspended because
multiple DUIs.
Yeah, multiple DUIs. He was already accused for poor treatment of women and minorities in his office, and then of course, they were having a survey being done. And,
like a workplace.
Yeah, and he stops that because it's not going so well for him.
It's like, everybody's talking shit about you. Well, let's stop the survey.
Let's not do the survey. Let's just not go through the motions on that one. And his team, his players gave him an F grade for his for treatment of families, food and nutrition programs.
Yeah, because they did a survey of the players as far as what's the best facility, atmosphere, and all that. And the Cardinals were like one of the worst teams that you would want to play for.
That's not good for the Cardinals, especially with given the tumultuous issues around their quarterback situation and new coach. So
the old coach. I don't know if you saw. He just went to USC. Quarterbacks coach.
They're gonna be all offense over there.
Well, that's the thing. The offense wasn't an issue last year.
Well, it's never an issue with
out West Coast. But so he gets to work with Caleb Williams next year. That should be fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Lincoln Riley still got defensive holes. I mean, you can't just. I mean, I guess you can try to outscore everybody if that's what you're going to try to do, but that's going to come back and bite you in the backside when you get in
the playoffs. Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
So it's actually never been a very good proven method for Lincoln Riley. I mean, he puts up some crazy numbers and gets his quarterbacks Heisman trophies, but then they get to the NFL and flop outside of Jalen.
Yeah.
But Jalen had other schools' influence as well.
Right.
That's why he's doing good, is because of Alabama, not because of Oklahoma.
Yeah, because he's running more of an Alabama offense in the pros than he is in Oklahoma.
He put up monster numbers to maybe get drafted higher at Oklahoma, but at any rate,
it's like smoke and mirrors, bells and whistles offense.
The players, their offense doesn't translate over, and that's a huge issue. It's a huge issue for Oklahoma quarterbacks, for sure. They all pretty much go baseball. They want to go baseball, but at any rate, that's my scumbag. I don't have any other scumbags.
Okay.
I was gonna throw Greg Norman in there as a scumbag, the Live Tour president, but. He got banned from Augusta. They didn't invite him. He got pissed about that and had some smart-ass comments about not being invited. But, he was obviously only going to be there to stir the pot and not be positive. And I think the PGA has made some positive moves. And I think ultimately Live Tour has been fine. I don't have a problem with Live Tour. It's, there's room for many tours.
Yeah. But are they televised?
Yeah, they're beginning to get televised, but they got it's such a weird atmosphere. Music being played, and I mean the players are in shorts, and it's just different. I don't think it's gonna.
It's like the XFL.
Yeah, I mean,
gimmicky.
I don't think it's gonna go over, great. But if it's done anything, it's made the PGA have to adapt and improvise and. It's always different in Augusta anyway because Augusta is in a bubble. Augusta can do what Augusta
wants. Almost literally.
It really is. I mean, they can do what they want to do. They don't need the money. It's not about profit for them. If you go to the Masters, it's $1.50 for an egg salad, $1.50 for pimento cheese, $3 for a chicken sandwich. It's $5 for a beer.
Even the souvenirs in the pro shop. I mean, you're not paying 3 times markup.
No, it's not astronomical. And I mean, I saw a stat where they're making like $33,000 a minute in their store the whole week during the Masters. But at any rate, it's an awesome place to go to for sure. But that's it, man. That's it for my scumbag. I know we talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, I knew we'd spend half the show just in our toast and our scumbags. So let's come in hot and talk about a few other things going on in the sports world. You said you wanted to talk a little NFL draft stuff.
Yeah, I heard something kind of interesting today. Michael Lombardi, former NFL exec, he was on his podcast talking about C.J. Stroud and that the word on the street is that he's not easy to coach. He's not a very coachable kid.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that's some smoke and mirrors at the end,
right?
All the sports talk radio I've been listening to and podcasts. All the arrows are pointing at Bryce right now as the number 1 pick overall, and I mean, we're biased. I'm very biased when it comes to Bryce. I can't quite not get out of my Alabama goggles when I think of Bryce, but
I'm still a little bit worried. he is slight of build, and I saw a good comp for him, Jeff Garcia. Remember, Jeff Garcia had a couple of fantastic years,
very good years,
but his body just could not withstand. And it don't take, when you think about these D linemen that weigh 300 pounds that are going to fall on top of him, even if he gets the ball off, there's still, contact afterwards. And
not only that, you look at some of the more mobile quarterbacks that the NFL caught up to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing I heard a comp today of Barry Sanders for Bryce in terms of his avoiding hits,
right?
Not his running ability, but avoiding hits. And one thing watching him all these years, I have always remarked on how he had eyes in the back of his head.
He's got him and Joe Burrow. And I've heard him compared to Burrow as far as that pocket sense and just being able to know where they're coming from,
right,
and elude them. Really, I think my favorite, comparison isn't even a football comparison. I think I like the Steph Curry comparison the best, because he can dish that ball like Steph can. He can hit the long shots like Steph can, and just got the moves and just will make people look silly with some of his moves. Or I've heard a Patrick Mahomes light, because Mahomes is a magician also. So, talent-wise, unquestioned. If he was, I think I said it before, if he was 6'2", 220, they'd be talking about him in Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning type of admiration.
Oh, easily. The one thing that they talk about mostly is processing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the word I've heard the most. Is
processing, accuracy.
How quickly he processes information and throws receivers open. And his height is never really – he's never really had a lot of bad balls.
I'm not even worried about his height.
Yeah.
I see a lot of 6'4" guys getting their balls back.
Sure, it's release points. And processing.
Yeah,
because
getting it off.
If you're processing things pre-snap and then post-snap quickly, you can find your lanes to throw the ball in.
He's always been that height.
Absolutely.
So,
never been an issue.
He's had to play that.
SEC has always been
and that's why exactly.
NFL caliber lines.
Exactly. And that's why I just say I'm a little worried for the longevity.
Oh, easily. I don't see him being a 15-year quarterback because I agree. There's going to come a point in time in his career where he just can't outrun that edge.
And I meant to look up.
You think about players like Julius Peppers, 6'8", defensive end, running a 4.5, 4.6. Sideline to sideline. You're not going to outrun that kind of player for too many plays. So sooner or later, he's going to get caught. And like you said, the big worry is not necessarily getting hit; it's getting piled on.
And that's what I meant to look it up earlier. Was what did Drew Brees? What was his playing weight? Looks like it was about 209.
Yeah, I was going to say he was 6 foot, about 210.
Yeah, this Wikipedia's got him at 6 foot 209. Right now they're listing Bryce at 5'10 and a half, 204. But is he going to play at 204, or is that his inflated water weight at the combine tube?
Yeah, he absolutely loaded up.
So he's probably going to play at 195 maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
And he's how old is Bryce? 22?
21 or 22, yeah.
So he's got, a good...
Yeah, he can still fill
3 or 4 more years of filling and maturing in his chest and his shoulders. He's going to pick up more weight, but he absolutely blew up for the combine weigh-in. That was some bullshit.
He's clearly. 21.
Yeah, 21, okay.
He's 21. He's actually in Houston today. Houston's got the second pick. So
Oh, I thought he was in Charlotte today. Was it?
I think Charlotte yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I think he was here yesterday, and he's in Houston today. You know, you were talking about former GM giving his opinion on things. Another former GM, Mike Tannenbaum, he's saying that Hendon Hooker is the best quarterback and it is. I always find it amusing because there's a reason these guys are former GMs.
Yeah,
because their opinions weren't good enough to make them current GMs.
Well, I mean, one thing, you and I have talked about draft day and maybe coming up with our own list, but that's not going to happen because, the more I watch these mocks and the more I watch actual drafts,
Yeah.
it's all a guessing game.
It is.
It is. It's all a guessing game.
Mel Kiper's got everybody trading up and 4 quarterbacks being the first 4 picks of the draft, which has never happened in the history of the NFL. And this quarterback class is not really deep enough for, because you got 2 legit quarterbacks that need to be drafted high, Stroud and Young. The other 3, there's a lot of question marks around them.
Well, I mean, like I said last week, if you put the 5, if you add Hooker into the 4,
I would probably rate Hooker third of all of them.
Well, there's 4 out of those 5. You add Hooker into that. Out of those 5, 2 of those 5 statistically are going to fail.
Yeah. Well,
and so which 2 is it going to be?
I mean, you can go back to the Joe Burrow draft. You had Burrow go 1, Tua went 5, and Herbert went 6. And those 3 quarterbacks are... I don't know how to put... based on Bryce's size, you would take those 3 over any quarterback in this class.
Well, you'd clearly take 2 of them.
Yeah.
You'd clearly take 2 of them. That's one thing that this class is a deep quarterback class, but there's nobody.
Is it elite?
It's nobody at that elite level that you're like a Luck, a Manning, or
a Joe Burrow,
or what's his name from Clemson,
Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, those guys were no-brainers
because they had
everything.
It goes back to. If Bryce had that size, there would be no discussion.
And he would be considered that.
He would be over Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. He would be in the same breath as Luck and Peyton Manning.
But you have to consider his build. I mean,
that's part of it.
Because that's a wild card.
Yeah, you can't say if. I mean, because it is what it is. Another little. Pre-draft nugget for you. Will Anderson was visiting with the Detroit Lions, and I don't think they're. I think they're at 6. I don't see him falling to 6. I mean, they might be interested in trading up if they really like him. But could you imagine a D-line with Hutch on one side and Will Anderson on the other side?
That'd be nice, man. Detroit's in an interesting spot. They're in an interesting spot. I mean, if 4 quarterbacks go, if moves get made and 4 quarterbacks go, I mean, they got their choice.
Well, you still got Seattle. You still got Seattle at 5.
Yeah, but you still gonna have your choice between Will and Carter.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think right now, if
they need a DB though. Didn't they just trade Okudah?
Yeah.
They just traded Okudah, so they're probably looking DB. So
if Carolina does take Bryce, it would not surprise me if D'Amico took Will. If Houston took Will Anderson number 2, that would not surprise me.
He's got to have a quarterback.
He does. Well, I mean, he might. Then go out and trade for Lamar Jackson, or
he can't.
They've got.
They still got up on Stroud at 2, man.
Well, he's not coachable.
Well, D'Amico can coach anything.
Yeah, D'Amico is a hell of a coach. But I didn't say he was gonna pass up on him. I know. But I won't be shocked if Bryce goes 1.
You think he's a Bama homer like that?
I don't think it's quite a homer. I think he's a defensive stud, and knows the value of a defensive
Be hard
stud.
to pass up on a defense.
You know, he and think about where he came from. San Fran, who has continuously done it without a top quarterback. They've done it with a running game and a hell of a defense.
And
so that's the
and
school.
an elite defensive end.
Yeah, Bosa.
Yeah.
So that's the school D'Amico grew up in the NFL.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Bryce goes 1 and Will goes 2.
I will not be surprised. Y'all heard it here first. It could happen if Carolina takes if Carolina takes Stroud, I think D'Amico runs to the stage and drafts Bryce. But if Bryce goes first, I could see D'Amico shocking the world and taking Anderson second. Because like I said, he grew up in that Shanahan, San Fran system,
Right.
where you don't have to have elite quarterback play. You have to have elite defense. And
Well, if you don't let them score, that's
and you grind it out with a running game, and then you know if it doesn't work, then you're sitting pretty next year. Maybe you get a Caleb Williams next year.
yeah. Next year definitely has the elite
So
feel to it.
don't sleep on that move
All right,
right
well,
there.
we'll revisit that comment. We'll revisit that. Any other bold predictions on the draft?
That's the only thing I had jotted down here in my notes.
Going to be some draft day trades for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I don't know if I ever finished my thought. I kind of jumped around.
I saw a mock with Will Levis going first, which I think is BS. I mean that.
Levis and Richardson, I think they're a crapshoot. Yeah, they've got very high ceilings, but they've also got extremely low floors. I mean, they
right.
can.
That's
they
why
can,
I think it's going
They
to be
can bust
Bryce
out with
for
the best of them.
Because the Panthers have just loaded up on off-season moves, and it's almost like they think, and they were close. We talked about it last year. They were close. You know, they were a good quarterback away from having a playoff contending team. So they got the defense.
You know,
and they picked up all that off-season.
I think Trey Lance is going to be available for trade. Yeah, here's a name for you in Houston, Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. Well, he's a name for anybody.
Because I mean, they've got a ton of picks.
Yeah.
So grab Anderson at 2, and then if you, I mean, they'll probably will be in a position where they could draft a Hooker or a Richardson or a Levis at, I think it's 9 is their second pick.
I like the Hendon Hooker pick. You know, late in the I don't even know in the first round. I might be willing to try to get him in the second.
Yeah,
because I could see him slipping.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question with him is, you know, when's he going to be ready to play?
Sure,
So
but I mean,
this might be a redshirt year for him, but I still think he's the third best quarterback in this draft.
I haven't looked at his timeline. What was the ACL, wasn't it? I haven't looked at his timeline.
It was about close to Jameson's. Of course, different positions. You know, he doesn't quite need that explosiveness and cutting ability.
True.
Although that's part of his game.
He's not a run first dude though.
No, but it is part of his game.
Sure,
I mean, he'll extend the play.
Yeah.
But
interesting to see where he goes.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, Houston can get creative. You know, come out if you're not going to come out of it with the best quarterback, come out of it with the best defensive player.
Do you know their picks?
No, not off the top of my head. I know, like I said, I know they got number 2.
Maybe we should do a show prior to the draft. Just make our crazy predictions and see how close we get. We should do that.
But
it might be interesting.
I keep starting to mention how Arizona, I think, is in a very favorable position. You know, with the number 3. So if you're assuming the top 2 quarterbacks go 1-2, then what does Arizona do at 3? Do they trade back and get some capital, do they go for Will Anderson if he's still on the board or Jalen Carter?
Nah, they need so much defensive help. I don't see them trading out of that.
It's 12. They've got number 2 and number 12 in the first round.
Oh, wow.
And then they've got 2/3, a 4th, a 5th, 1, 2, 3, 6.
They could easily go Will and then Hooker at 12. They could easily get Hooker at 12. Probably even get Levis at 12.
Of course, right now a lot of the predictions have them taking whichever quarterback the Panthers don't take, so either Stroud or Young, and then taking like a Smith and Jigba at 12. I mean, that would be kind of sweet too. Would be to come out of it with
a quarterback
with Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
Keep them two together because they've already got a chemistry, and you're getting the second best quarterback and the best wide receiver.
There's something about Smith and Jigba that doesn't sit well with me.
Well, yeah, I think he got durability issues, and he didn't. His speed is not.
He got heart issues.
Yeah,
man.
he didn't test well at the combine, so he's not a super fast receiver, and he's not got huge size either. So yeah, he.
But them Ohio State receivers.
Yeah, I mean
they're trending up in the NFL for
sure. They definitely have a good, strong history.
Bastards.
Yeah, I think over the last couple of seasons they've surpassed Bama as wide receiver U.
Yeah.
How about them Tampa Bay Rays? They're up to 11-0 now.
Yeah, they're going to become the next Charlotte professional baseball team, from what I'm hearing.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, their attendance is horrible.
Yeah, it always has been.
Yeah, it's horrible, and they've always had, the past 5, 6, 7 years they've been really good.
Well, the Florida residents are Yankees fans.
True that. Half of our fans around Charlotte are Yankees or Red Sox fans, or Braves, but
that'd be cool.
No, yeah, they're up, but yeah, I've heard some rumblings on Major League expansion, and obviously Charlotte is probably top 2 of potential expansion areas. So the Rays, I've heard the Rays talk here lately about them leaving Tampa Bay, and Charlotte would probably be a destination.
My bold take on the Rays would be that they're going to lose tonight. They play Boston, and Chris Sale is pitching for Boston. So I don't. The record to start the season is 13.
13.
The Braves did it in 82.
I remember the Braves doing it.
And the Brewers did it in 87.
About the year I became a Braves fan.
Yeah. So I think it's going to fall tonight. Let me see what the score is here.
Speaking of Major League Baseball, how about Shohei Ohtani?
Oh, I don't think it's going to fall tonight.
Oh, they up big?
They're up 6-1 in the 5th.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Well, there goes that theory. But how about Shohei Ohtani, man? He broke a long-standing Nolan Ryan record.
Yep.
Yeah. 10 starts with not surrendering 2 runs or less.
Yeah, that we talked. Was it last week? Or 2 weeks ago?
No, last week, I think.
Yeah, he's impressive.
Leo Mazzoni made the statement that he was maybe the greatest player in the history of the game.
Yeah,
If
he does it for a few more seasons, I agree with him.
He went 1 for 4 that night with a single, so pitched in at the plate and pitched from the mound, and I mean I like him. He's fun to watch for sure.
Well, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about Tiger. What'd you have on Tiger?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Tiger. Obviously he withdrew from the Masters, citing plantar fasciitis.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell too he was limping bad. He was limping during practice.
And anytime you've got, me and you both have had our ACLs done. So when the weather turns wet and cold,
it was a horrible setup.
Things ache worse.
It was. It couldn't have been a worse Masters for him in terms of weather. Yeah, true that. The one thing though I do want to say though is out of the 25% of the world's top 300 that made the tournament, only 54 of those 88 invitees, the top 300, actually made the cut, and he was one of them.
Yeah, I was happy he made the cut.
So you're talking about a guy with a leg that should have, for all intents and purposes, almost was amputated.
Right.
He basically put together a leg that was a bag of bones after the accident. So he's walking basically on a rebuilt leg that's not even the same leg that it was. He's had fusions, plantar fasciitis, all these things, and here he is still making the cut at Augusta in that weather. And Rory missed the cut. Justin Thomas missed the cut. Those are just two of the most notable players. But we're talking about, I've seen all kinds of things about Tiger Woods, but if you've played golf, you understand how difficult the game is, and if you've ever been to Augusta, you will quickly see how hilly that golf course is.
And long.
You cannot tell how hilly it is from the
TV. Right.
And when you're there, everybody remarks on. I can hear people talking about, how I can't believe it's this hilly. I never thought that.
Right.
It's not the right course for a one-legged man, especially in those horrible conditions. Right. So, don't tell me, number one, don't tell me Tiger can't win again, because he can win on the tour again. I just think I would like to see him take the rest of the year off, but I know he won't. He's going to play in all the majors, but man, I would love to see him take a year off. I mean, and not only that, he's 47.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
So Jack Nicklaus won. He's the oldest winning Masters champion at 46. Mm-hmm. And Tiger just took it on at 47 from 7,400 yards.
Yeah, I was going to say, the course is a lot different than,
the
course Jack played on.
13, I don't know how many, if you know this or if anyone knows this, but I don't know if you remember being at Augusta when you and I went, Amen Corner. You could see Augusta Country Club, which is an adjacent country club behind it. You could see the members playing golf and peering through the woods. Well, Augusta National bought part of that golf course to move the 13 tee box back 30 yards.
Yeah.
And so number 13, which has always been kind of a cherry-picked eagle opportunity for the touring pros, it was now a layup hole for the majority of the field. It was just exciting to watch, and just a really, really, I mean, I've been able to I can hit the ball a long ways, and it wouldn't touch nothing at Augusta. I mean, the length that these guys hit the ball is just, it's insane.
Yeah. Well, I remember when they lengthened a bunch of the holes a few years back because
they tiger-proofed it.
Yeah, when they were trying to tiger-proof it. Yeah.
Well,
so that's why I said what the course that Jack played on is not what they're playing on today.
They moved 13 back 30 more yards, which you can't even see. You can't get to 13 tee box, which sucks, but you can't even see the curve around. So the tee shot was crazy. I mean, it actually makes that course so much more exciting, the tournament. But anyway, that's my bit on Tiger, man. I hate to hear people talk shit about Tiger because what he's done to himself. I get it.
It was off the course type of stuff.
But he's also been, like, probably in our lifetime, he's probably been, I mean, he's on par with Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah.
So and Babe Ruth, and so when you're talking about superstars, I mean, these are like black holes of superstars. They're like
the money that they're making today. The Live Golf Tour wouldn't even be in existence. A lot of these young stud golfers, they took up the game of golf because of Tiger.
Yeah.
So I mean, he completely changed the PGA and golf altogether.
And he still moves the needle, man. You should have seen the crowds around him. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, you turn it on Sports Center, and they talk about the leaders and Tiger.
Yeah.
You know, so he's still relevant.
Very much. He's still impressive to watch, and still commands the respect of the players, and that's what's beautiful about watching a live tournament is just watching how in awe the actual touring players are of Tiger. Mm-hmm. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
It really is fun to watch.
All right. Well, I think we're about to our time limit.
Now, I got one more point, man. Caleb Love, man, little North Carolina.
Brick City.
Caleb Love, guess where he's going?
I know where he's going.
Michigan.
He's going to Michigan.
How about that?
He's bringing his bricks to Michigan.
Hey, man.
Y'all need something built up there?
Always, man. It might be his chance to right the ship. Might be his chance to break out.
I think y'all got a better player in Namari Burnett than you did Caleb Love.
You got a good backcourt coming to Michigan.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully he can find his shot because he definitely lost it.
Well, I think a change of scenery for him, and I think Juwan giving him, kind of a long leash to just be himself, and a
just
new.
Don't let him get around your girlfriend.
Well, I don't have that to worry about, thankfully. But
I'm talking about. I'm talking to the other players.
Talking about
just give him his own locker room. So,
How about that, UNC going to Michigan? That's a pretty cool move for him. Michigan needed it, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
anyway.
I figured you were gonna mention that.
Yeah, I thought I had to mention that one.
All right, well, we got number 2 in the Rabbit Hole series, the High Rye. The High Gold that we're going to go over to the bar and taste. So let's make our way over there. We'll taste that, and then we'll rate that shit. See you at the bar.
Cheers.
Cheers.